10:30 Saturday morning. It's that Spin That Back show. Yes, sir. Thank you for joining us here on the Focus Up Network. We do what we do here on Saturdays at 10:30. We talk about hip hop from 79 to 99. And me and Mr. Nice Guy is in here today, and we got Mr. Walk checking in. He should be popping in here and just right about. There you go. There you go, Mr. Walk. And today we're going to be talking about the Two Live Crew and Uncle Luke. Both of them.
Both of them.
Both of them.
He walking over there shaking his head. He's going to educate us why he thinks that's incorrect, but we're going to educate him why it's very much correct. But go ahead. What's going on with you, brother Walt?
Man, I'm chilling, bro. I had to eat, man. I was hungry. I went partying last night. Let's say that, but I had to eat something. So yeah, I'm here ready to talk about the Two Live Crew.
Two Live.
And Uncle Luke.
And Uncle Luke.
So go ahead. You want to start it off, infamous El Poo?
Yeah, let's start talking about the Two Live Crew. So interesting fact. Two Live Crew is Luke. Who is it? Mr. Mix. What was the name of those cats, bro? Brother
Luke Skywalker, Mr. Mix, Brother Marquise, and Fresh Kid Ice.
And Fresh Kid Ice and Mr. Marquise was from California, right?
Yep, that was in the Army.
Okay.
In Riverside. Edwards Air Force Base.
So how did they hook up with Luke out there in Miami?
Well, I think what happened. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well,
as far as I know, they was in the military doing music.
Mm-hmm.
The three guys, the group, and they was just doing music. And I'm not sure they was out in Miami or something. I think you better should tell that story.
Okay. So they were originally a group before, Luke came to it after. So the original group was DJ Mr. Mix, Fresh Kid Ice, and Amazing V. Brother Marquise came later, but they did like these two songs, and one of those songs kind of was like just blowing up on the South Side, basically in Florida. So Luke Skywalker, Luther Campbell, reached out to him. He was like the group. He became the group's manager and promoter, and and that's where it took off from there. So really, he's the Miami connection. Them brothers basically was the California connection. You know what I'm saying? So ultimately they recruited Brother Marquise and Amazing V. Left, and honestly, that roster has been switching around throughout the whole time. But I mean, the most familiar iteration of it is the Fresh Kid Ice, Mr. Mix, Brother Marquise, and Luke. So that's what's up. So that's the backdrop to Two Live Crew.
Okay. So let's just jump on into it. The first song I heard from them that I can remember was "Hey, We Want Some Booty." Unless it was something
an anthem.
funny.
But I think before that
Throw That D.
was Throw That Dick. Throw That D.
Throw That D, yeah.
Pause.
They used to play that at World on Wheels. They used to, and the chicks loved it. It was funny because they would say, "Throw that D, throw that D." Then my cousin MD, who had the Nissan truck, he was playing the dirty version. And remember back then we was kids, we hear people cursing. It was similar like hearing Richard Pryor. It was like, "Oh, they're cussing," and that was the version. And I just used to trip off the females' reaction to be calling words and saying that vulgar language. They loved it. They liked it. So Throw That Dick, I think, was the first song.
In the context of dancing, that those females can be uptight, but in the context of dancing in the club, that's when that they become a little bit looser. And Halloween, that's when what I'm saying. Those are the two times that females would basically go outside of their restrictive cover, in public. So definitely you can get some music, get them going crazy. And honestly, that was the big success of those cats. They got females on the floor to dance and got them to dance maybe in ways the guys really like to see them to dance. So when you talk about the stage show, the show with the women, and especially when it got to the part of the thick women. I mean, he definitely recalibrated our concept of the beautiful black woman. I always consider him somewhat as the father of the thickness movement. You know what I'm saying? So, he educated us. He definitely educated us. So, that's why Uncle Luke gets his props for that. So,
Yes, sir. And then there was being.
No, you talking about a time where there was not even no Uncle Luke. He wasn't called Uncle Luke. He was called Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
And then he got sued. So this is what I'm saying. Wait, this is what I'm saying. Two separate entities. He got sued for the name because remember it was Luke Skywalker Records, which Luke Sir Campbell started, and then he got sued by George Lucas, creator of Star Wars, and then he turned it to Luke Records.
What's happening there? Mark Cramcarm, the 6th. He said he lived in South Florida during that time in the 80s. So that's what's up. Yeah, exactly. The kids went crazy. Yeah, because they had the radio versions and then they had the filthy version. So if you wasn't buying it, you didn't know nothing about the visual. All you know is Throw That D. And then all of a sudden, like you say, someone has like in a Jeep had a real song. You're like,
yeah.
Go ahead, El Pooh. What was you about to say?
Yeah, there was like the first people that actually made the clean version and then the radio version. You know what I'm saying? We kind of give it credit to NWA in a sense because NWA did kind of innovate it in a sense, but they were doing this too. And this was 86. So it wasn't a lot of explicit music out there at this time. People wasn't really, saying, a lot of curse words and stuff, except Too Short. Too Short was and
of course, 83. 84, Too Short.
And then you had Blowfly, back in the day doing it.
Yeah.
But when they came with it, then that kind of opened it up for everything. And then it got really controversial, and eventually Luke went to court and everything, and had a big old case about a parental.
Wait, you going too far ahead? Wait, hold on.
I know I am, but I'm just laying the context that these were some of the first people that was actually being as vulgar as they were,
And watch this. That the sticker, remember explicit lyrics?
Yep.
That was invented by Luke Skywalker's record label. That was the first. They made that, and then everybody started putting it on their album. But he made that, and that was the first album to do that. It's a lot of stuff. I'm gonna hip y'all to that Luke first I did when we move on. But yeah,
Uncle Luke. Yeah, thanks. We appreciate it.
Then they also had Throw That P too, right? A female version.
Some girls. Yeah. Hoes with attitudes. HWA, seriously.
Females had a thing for answering rap songs, so that was a lane. You know what I'm saying? So that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there was basically on this Miami base. I don't even think they even invented that style of music, but they was the ones that actually, that
popularized it. Yeah. They had a concept of it, they had a name for it, and they were completely invested in that. Was definitely the sound that was really rocking in those areas. So, and that's the fast tempo, that's the elongated, 808 bass and stuff like sustain, boom and stuff like that. And it got you dancing. On the West Coast, we appreciated East Coast hip hop, but it didn't really get people dancing because, we basically tended to gravitate more to that higher tempo. So, that was the one thing that you appreciated with the Miami bass type stuff like that really gets you going and stuff like that. As far as like a party is concerned, what I'm saying? Gangsters always boogie, so it's not that you didn't move, but I'm just saying as far as the dances and stuff like that, that's when we had the Egyptian Lover and, and that type of stuff, the fast stuff, the electro funk.
Arabian Prince.
Arabian Prince, exactly.
Uncle Jam's Army, baby.
Mm-hmm. Uncle Jam's Army. Salute.
Salute. And spin that back one time, too. Where is it at? There you go.
So are we getting into the first album? That first album, or what are we doing?
We're gonna defer to you. You can if you want to talk about. We're not gonna go through the track listings, but if you want to talk about something notable, go ahead. Because we only know certain songs.
What was the first album called? Because I remember they had a song, "Move Some." That video. Oh my God.
Was the second one. I think that was the second one.
That was the second album?
The first one is called "Too Live Is What We Are."
Yeah.
Okay.
And Move Something
That's
was
with
the
the throw
second
to
one, I
D.
believe.
Okay.
That's the throw to
All right.
D. Yeah,
That
exactly.
D, we want some pussy,
Pause,
And,
pause, pause.
and Get It Girl. That's the only three I know on there.
That's on the first album?
Yep.
That was an anthem.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we want some pussy. Like, I'm sitting here doing this, and it's like these songs is in my head. That's why I'm like, yeah. But and then look, the females came with a song called Pause, 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 please. Hey, we want some D-I-C-K. Hey, that was another anthem. I don't know what group made that song, but that was like what the females would say when that song is playing. But yeah. Pause.
So Move Something, that was the second one. That was in 88. Really, as nasty as they want to be, that's the 89. That's when you get to like, Me So Horny. I mean, that was a song that to me, I respect that to this day. I mean, I thought it was dope that they used. I always forget which movie it is. I don't remember if it's either
Full Metal
Platoon or Full Metal Jacket. So yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I mean that was a great sequence that they used. It was great how they flipped it. And these dudes, I wasn't necessarily a big fan of their rapping and all this other stuff. I think they really did a really good job of rapping on Me So Horny. Like they the lyrics and the delivery. So I mean, to me, it's a great song.
And now that you mentioned that with that part with the Me So Horny, that scene, my goofy ass brother-in-law, one time we was out, he trying to talk to his Asian chick, and he was like, "It's so horny, me love you long time." And I'm like looking at him like, that is so freaking offensive, dude. And of course he didn't get a good response, but yeah. But that was that back then with the Me So Horny, and they had a line on there like sitting at home watching Arsenio Hall, and they was on the Arsenio Hall show. That was so fly when they performed that song, Me So Horny. I think that was their first breakout record, and they got in a lot of trouble for that entire album.
Yeah. So yeah. And then that was the sticker. And again, that's not to be jumping too ahead, but that's basically where you have the big lawsuit and him fighting and basically really changing the game. I mean, that lawsuit opened up a lot as far as hip hop, as far as rap, as far as what you couldn't do. I mean, people literally went to jail for selling their records in the record store. They were sending FBI agents to the store to buy records just to bust them out. I mean, that's crazy. Like, really, you got all these terrible things going on in the world, and you guys are preoccupied with like records and stuff like that. There's drugs. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it was crazy. It was a crazy time, but he fought it and he won it. He changed it. Everything changed after that. And it never went back.
They had such a craze, like, to where it was the yin and the yang, the people that hated Two Live Crew. I'm talking about churches, politicians that was really against him and trying to stop him. And it was so loved, where people would stand outside of record stores to buy the album. When they in there signing the album, it would be blocks and blocks. Two Live Crew was really huge in the South, and they changed a lot. They really paved the way. They really took the bullets for all this goofy shit we hearing today. All these rappers talking about killing and all that. They really kind of paved the way and took the bullets from the government. And like you said, the FBI, everything, dude. They went through a whole lot. Yeah. Salute to Live Crew, bro.
Think about these dudes walked so Sexy Red could run.
Yeah, shout out to Uncle Luke for going to court and winning that case and everything, because he did change the whole game with that. So,
yeah.
And then after that, they even came out with an album called "Banned in the USA" in 1990. That's because of
Banned in the USA, which they used Bruce Springsteen's. Remember, they used Bruce Springsteen album, Born in the USA, and people were getting that Bruce Springsteen, like, they use your music, you should sue him. And Bruce Springsteen said, fuck y'all, I like it, and let him do it. He did not sue him for that record, bro. Bruce
Good
Springsteen.
Shout out to Bruce Springsteen.
Yep.
Hey,
You know,
Jay Walk, let me ask you a question, Walk. What was that
Yes.
song we had sample for "Work That Pussy"? That was a Two Live Crew.
That was Dolomite on
yeah.
I forgot, that was when the new Two Live Crew. The new Two Live Crew, which was Trick Daddy and Kid Ace. Brother Marquise was not on that album. I used to love that album.
That roster flipped around. They definitely flipped around. They were like the Avengers, you know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
And you know, when we talk about them, you really got to talk about, when we're talking about Two Live Crew, that's these guys, they established themselves in the pantheon. I didn't really mess with their music too much. I wasn't necessarily a big fan, but I remember they had a song on New Jack City called "Ticket in the Dust," and I thought, wait, they got a real rap song. It's not just a function of just, this sort of like Miami bass, just whatever. That was the first song I heard from them that sounded like a traditional rap song. So, I appreciated that. But, they had just a whole lot more going on. When you talk about Luke, when you talk about the stuff that he was doing out, when you talk about like the Peep Show. I mean, this dude, it wasn't just enough that, you know what I'm saying? Because the Peep Show, if you didn't know, it was a video show hosted by Heather Hunter and Uncle Luke. And they have artists on and stuff like that, and they would play these videos and stuff like that. But I mean, they were promoting this stuff. But I mean, he was really built into the sexuality, and I'm not a type. I forget what that. I'm not prude about that type of stuff. We need to embrace what we are. All you do when you hide this stuff is just make people want it more. It's that forbidden fruit type dynamic. I'm for fully embracing what you are, but just with restraint and consent, not no Diddy type stuff. So, I'm just saying. But yeah, the Peep Show, it was a big deal. We rocked it. Yeah. And I mean, he was that guy. So go ahead.
Let me say, that came a little later, but let's get to Band in the USA. Because that was right after he beat that case. He won. What they say, because they labeled it filth, but he beat the case. And watch this. Then he wanted that song, Band in the USA. He wanted that to be dropped on the 4th of July, to be sent out to all DJs, and he wanted them to play it all at the same time at midnight. That's when he was with a bigger label, even though he was still Luke Records. They said this: we got a better idea. We're going to download it and send it to the record labels. And Luke was like, what is download? And guess what? That's the first downloaded song in American history. Band in the USA.
Wow. Is that right?
I'll be researching shit. I'm telling y'all.
Bro, who had a computer back in 1990?
I didn't know that. But
in 1990, we had Commodore 64s.
People did.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you. I hear what you're saying. So yeah, so no.
Download.
Yeah, no, that was a big deal. The consumers downloaded, but the creators uploaded. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yes.
Uploaded, right.
Download, you gotta upload to get it downloaded. So
that's what's up. So because I don't know what time did
wait, hold on. Band in the USA, didn't they have on that song? I mean, on that album, was It's Your Birthday? That got to be the album.
No, that's Luke.
It's Your Birthday.
That's Luke. Luke Records. That's Luke.
You sure?
Yeah,
I'm gonna look that up.
That's why I wanted to talk
about
Uncle Luke, because Uncle Luke had his own song. Because again, he said after the whole Skywalker thing, George Lucas was like, "Nah, you can't use Skywalker," and he just dug into the whole Uncle Luke moniker, and he released this song. Now, Uncle Luke was not a rapper. He was just kind of like a guy. He was kind of like what's the dude from what's that dude, Lil Jon? You know what I'm saying? Just really more just like a hype person type stuff, like whatever. Yeah. So, but I mean, this birthday song, this It's Your Birthday, it's a dope ass song. It is a hype ass song. The vibe that it gets from the people on the floor, it is what a song should be. So I'm telling you, even though I wasn't a big fan of all the stuff they were doing, this was an example of this was perfection. So I love It's Your Birthday. I mean, people will constantly chant that today. probably don't even know what the source of it. Just saying it's your birthday, it's your birthday. You know what I'm saying? That's just it. Just became a cultural thing. So I mean, this is a dope ass thing. But this was Uncle Luke.
Coming.
That's the Doodoo Brown. That was another one, you know. But that's Doodoo Brown.
Yeah, that's I Wanna Rock.
I wanna rock. I wanna rock. I wanna
Yeah,
rock.
that was. I think that was from Luke's solo. His first when he came out with in '93 or '92. I got
92.
shit on my mind when he was on the toilet with a newspaper, and that was the album cover. I got shit on my mind. I was in the military then, and I would play that over and over in my little cheap ass Walkman earphones, and when I worked out, that was I love that album by Uncle Luke, because all he did was he had a few rappers on there, but he would, like you said, do the Little John thing before there was a Little John. Hype it up. All hoes suck dick. All niggas eat pussy. It was crazy chats.
But it got you going. It got the party going. You know what I'm saying? It was a hype thing, and you know it contributed. So you know it was amazing.
Yes, sir. I was trying to look for that album, but I guess I can't find it here. They got it censored out. Anyway,
You know it's funny. I'm sitting there thinking like, hey, Walk. I don't know. I'm looking for It's Your Birthday. I don't know if you're right or wrong about this. You know, I'm trying to verify. I'm pretty sure when I got it, it came on my phone. You said 1994.
That's 1994. Luke.
Oh yeah, it is the Luke. So
Yep.
yeah, I was correct. So yeah, there you go. I see it. Yeah.
Yep.
But that's a great song right there. And then you know these cats, they even Two Live Crew, they came back even a little bit maybe outside of our time for Friday. It was on the Friday soundtrack with that, you know, with the Hoochie Mama.
Yeah, that's when the original members came together, because before that they had the new Two Live Crew was Uncle Luke, of course, and Trick Daddy and a rapper named Verb. They was all from
hold on. Spin that back one time. Trick Daddy came from Two Live Crew.
Yes,
What?
yes, he was in it. He was in it, and had that song. Scarred was real big. Scarred was a big song around, like, I forgot what year it was. I think that was like 96 or something. I love that song too as well. But yeah.
I didn't know that.
Trick Daddy.
Trick
Daddy used to live with Luke when Trick Daddy got out of jail. Uncle Luke, because Trick Daddy was in the streets, he let him move in with him. This was around like 95, something like that. But Trick Daddy lived with Uncle Luke, and Uncle Luke was just trying to keep him out of trouble because he was a hothead. Like even with the beef with NWA when they was going through that around 94, where Trick Daddy and the whole Miami Cats, they was on some, we're gonna kill these guys. Like that's what it was. Then the Death Row dudes like, we with the smoke too. They had a big brawl at the Jack the Rapper. What was the Jack the Rapper, like in Atlanta or Florida or something? But that's how Jack the Rapper eventually had to shut down, because 2 years in a row they had a big fight. A lot of cats from LA got stabbed up. So then the next year, the Compton cats, they came deep, had a big brawl, you know. But that's when Luke said, I gotta sit down with these dudes. Somebody gonna die with this stuff. Because that's when a lot of people was migrating from Miami to Atlanta. And of course, LA cats is coming there too. And they was like, we gotta squash this because somebody gonna end up dead with this. And I'm glad they did. Good thing they did. The foresight of Uncle Luke to say, like, yo, this is getting too serious. Because he had people that he was in the streets with before when they knew the Compton cats, the Death Row was coming, they would be like, yeah, we here. Just to let Luke know. He was like, this is getting out of hand, bro. So yeah.
That reminds me when Ice-T would talk about, he guys, look, you gotta understand, when you're the celebrity and you got your peoples around you and you got these thugs and stuff like that, that's their value. That's what, you know, when they're thinking like, this is what I can do for you. So that's like their expression of love. And he's like, that's dangerous because they do something, it's gonna come back on you. So you gotta, you know, you gotta control your circle and stuff like that. So yeah, that stuff got wild. And really, it's like that. I remember when Dr. Dre and Snoop were talking about how he got even sucked into that Dre Day song because obviously they had the thing going on with Easy, and then Tim Dog did Fuck Compton, so of course they went after them. And they were like, they were starting to think that they were hearing some buzzing coming out of Luke, so they're like, yeah, we're just gonna slot him right in there. So he was just like a throw in, you know what I'm saying? But it created a whole bunch of stuff because then they responded with that Cowards in Compton or whatever. Or I forgot what the song was called.
Cowards in Compton.
Yeah, that's what it was called.
So that's when
Money.
And that's look, you got thugs everywhere. You know what I'm saying? People talk about whatever. You guys can go to Monrovia finding some thugs. You know what I'm saying? So people just you get people worked up. They can be a problem. You know what I'm saying? So you need to quash that stuff. That whole East Coast West Coast thing, how it went crazy with with Pac and Biggie and all of this stuff. People died behind that crap, not just Pac and Biggie. So that's what's up.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, ask y'all this. How did it actually start? You said they heard some chatter or something, but
they just heard it. It was just like some like they like people was telling us like just they're like Luke is firing shots or something like that. But I don't think he was.
It was a song. It was a song from Luke's album. JT Money was on from I Got Shit on My Mind, where it was a lot of they was talking to each other. JT Money, he rapped, and then they was talking like during the intermission, like about the gangster stuff they did, and it was like these fuck niggas is out here faking like they gangsters and Compton. They mentioned Compton, so of course that's Dr. Dre and Death Row. That's what it was, but it wasn't a direct shot. They didn't feel it, but they was just having a conversation. Like, and I like a line JT Money said. He said, I still don't know who the fuck nigga was. I was shooting that on Biscayne. It was hard. It's a good listen. If you go back and listen to it, it's funny as hell, like the whole song, but it was like faking like gangsters. And they took Dre took it offense to it like they was talking to him directly. And Snoop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was always wondering.
And Snoop said, it's like I hated that I kind of just jumped on that and went after these people because I didn't have no like real beef, but it's like that's my guy and I'm whatever. He's like, I don't I got to learn from that, not just be jumping into stuff like that, whatever. So it was kind of a messy situation, but when you look at his lyrics, I mean, you on stage at your whack ass concert, for the show. Yeah, I didn't take Two Live Crew seriously musically. I'm never questioning a person's thuggery or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Anybody can fight, anybody can pull a trigger, anybody can stab, you know what I'm saying? But as far as their music, I wasn't really like whatever. I mean, you say what you want about MC Hammer, but he was a real problem in the streets. So, beware if you go talking reckless about that guy. All that sequence and stuff, that wasn't gonna protect you from what you was gonna deal with on the street. So be careful just shooting off on folks,
Yeah, a lot of cats found out about Hammer the hard way.
So yeah, that's what's up. So
Yeah.
So what else?
Yeah, go ahead. Go.
I was gonna say so then we talk about Uncle Luke. So it's not just the rap stuff, but you talk about the business stuff. Because I always think about a person like Master P. This is a person that wasn't just getting artist money, but getting producer money, getting executive money, and doing things because you have that type of money. When you got executive money, you can do stuff like the Peep Show or this, that, and the other, because they had a whole bunch of stuff going on. So when you talk about sort of like one of the big power players in the game, that's who Uncle Luke was, and that's why we wanted to emphasize on Uncle Luke, his legal name. Not his birth name, but you know what I'm saying. Just if that's what he goes by now, that hey, I'm Mr. Nice Guy now. Wasn't always Mr. Nice Guy. That's just how it is. So that's what's up.
Yeah. The Peep Show, that was groundbreaking. He had a lot of rappers on there. Little Kim,
artists,
and
you had a whole lot of artists because you had
Biggie, and it would be funny like they doing the interview and two people in the back fucking like it was crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah, Lil Kim talked about that. Like a D party for real.
Right.
Aaron Hall talked about it. Aaron Hall was on there actually. I think that's where he had met his baby mama, the one that was 16. Was it Gloria Velez or what?
Yeah, Gloria Velez.
Yeah, she was 16 years old. He met her there.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How is your daughter there? Like, how are you letting your daughter, 16 years old, and you around Luke? I'm like, boy, I'm killing everybody.
Hey, I'll say this. You ever see that NWA video, the pool, the video pool party? Yeah. Well, I saw some of my Hamilton schoolmates in there, so that's what's up. That happened.
Whoa.
Some people I went to
that was
junior high
underage.
with. I mean,
That was underage.
It was one of Hamilton.
What year did that come out? I gotta believe that they were, and it put it this way, it happened right there. So I'm just saying it, So I'm just saying it. Yeah, there wasn't just one. It was a few. Where I'm like, oh yeah, I remember her pastor. You know what I'm saying? And just like, yo, yeah. So.
That's crazy.
Hey, whatchamacallit, not to I'm gonna diverge too much, but Big Yella, he had an alternative name. He was producing pornos and stuff like that, Yellow Boy and stuff like that. So a lot of people didn't make the connection, but they saw the work. So yeah, he was doing what he's doing. So, and I'm sure that Luke probably may have, he's probably had some connections and did some things as well. It's just exploiting your fame and your notoriety and what you're known for. So it's just business.
Yeah, but it's a good thing that because like Luke is known for the freak offs or the parties and stuff like that, but it never got to the point where he had allegations of rape or holding people hostage. He had a few issues with like his baby mamas and stuff like that, hitting them and them up and stuff like that. But he never had no crazy charges against him as far as sexual abuse, So salute to you. Look for that. Like not going down for that crazy.
Yeah, for real. If you're in there and that's your angle and that's who you're drawing, and to basically come out unscathed, that's an accomplishment.
I used to call Luke Hefner. That's what he was to me, bro. He was like the playboy of the industry. Shout out to Luke. And Luke is still kicking to this day, man. He kicks a lot of knowledge too. He talk a lot of crazy stuff, but he kicks a lot of knowledge.
Well, he's a married man. Been married for a bit, you know what I'm saying? He's a family man, was he the person that I think that was
I think he married his attorney, the one that helped him through all that stuff with the when he was getting banned, that was trying to ban him and all that stuff. His attorney, I think that's the one he ended up marrying her. Been with her, it's been like about 30 years almost. Yeah,
that's an accomplishment. And we encourage marriage, especially for these youngsters that just get in trouble outside of marriage. So, people get in trouble in marriage, but a lot of these cats catching cases, lock it down, stay visible, and stay together. It'll keep you out of trouble. You know what I'm saying? Like Doug Christie's wife, she followed the bus. She followed the bus. They go Sacramento Kings to play. They be on the team bus. She's in the car following the bus. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. But it worked.
Yeah, stay with her until she started acting like Remy. So
ouch.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he just So props to Live Crew, props to Luke. They sold a lot of records. They did a lot of vulgar things, but they made a lane out of it. They exploited it. They had great success. Rest in peace to those members, to Brother Marquise and the fresh Kid Ice. It's sad when you're reaching that age where people just we just pass away from natural causes. You know what I'm saying? It's a wake up call, and just understand it. Look, you're on the clock. Take care of yourself. Appreciate what you got. Smell the roses, and we appreciate what they've done and what they've been and what we got left.
For sure. As well.
They
so
sure did try to break Luke, because Luke spent millions on that case too. So he tried to break that man, but he still stayed strong. So shout out to that brother.
He stayed strong, and his victory wasn't just his victory. It was a victory for rap. It was a victory for free speech. And honestly, it was a victory for music, because other genre of music has got the benefit of that, of what he accomplished in court as well. So, he is a crusader for the cause. And again, I'm going to say that I wasn't a big fan of their music, but there's a lot of songs that they did that I still rock with. As a DJ, I play them because I get a response. And you know what? Some of them songs got me going as well. So, salute to those cats.
Shit, I used to love to be at parties and they throw on some it's your birthday or
Oh
I want to
man.
rock, man. Come on.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like, and we had activity back then. It seems like now everybody's kind of cool. They're not really, we had the big what they call it, calisthenics, like the dances and stuff like that. A lot of activity. So, but yeah, shout out to those brothers that did that. And basically got the females to let down their hair and go wild. So that's an accomplishment,
Yes,
Now
right.
I think women are just kind of more naturally kind of out there, that's where things have evolved. Some of you youngsters, you're getting probably the different benefits. We had to struggle for stuff that you guys are getting real easy, but kind of is what it is.
And I'd like to thank Luke personally for those album covers, him and Ice-T. That was a big
Straight
part
to the
of my teenage years.
bathroom.
Straight to the bathroom.
So I don't know. That sounds like we about wrapping it up, unless someone else got something to say.
Nope.
Hey, thank you, 2 Live Crew. Thank you, Uncle Luke, for doing what you're doing. You're a legend. You've done legendary things. And, everybody should learn from your example as far as, just the whole angle. I mean, you're talking about this dude really built his career as just like kind of like a hype guy, like really not rapping, like just whatever. But I mean, he's had a fabulous Hall of Fame, rap career. And, it just shows you what can be done. So salute to that brother.
Yes, sir. And I'm glad you didn't go the route of Flavor Flav. So with that being said, all right. So I won't be on here next week because I got some things I got to do. So we'd like to thank y'all for joining us one more time for this Spin That Back show, 10:30 on Saturday morning. We will be back in a couple of weeks, hopefully, if God's willing. And we have something else to talk about. We might do something different next time we come on here. We'll see. Give me 2 weeks. I might try. Give me 2 weeks. But anyway, we out here, and we'll holler at y'all. Please join us next time.